Well, hello there. Thank you for being a part of another one of my stream classes. I just want to start off by saying that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can go away from this, come back to this at any time. You're under no obligation to sit through this in one entire setting. This class is somewhat large, so I would hate to see you be sitting there forever and ever, so you can minimize this and go away from it and come back to it. If you're a part of the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program, you're going to want to be listening for your secret code that's within this class. And you're going to want to get that to me either by calling me, emailing me, coming in and seeing me, or however you'd like. And that gets you on your way to prizes. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can just get in contact with me and my information's listed here for you. And that way we can get you going on that. Today we're going to be talking about internet safety and all the elements of internet safety. So this is a great class for people of all ages. So if you have grandchildren or children or cousins or nieces or nephews, they can all benefit from this. So please spread the word. But without further ado, I want to welcome you to internet safety. So to start off our class today, I want to take a look at the introduction to internet safety. And this is some of the things that we're going to be talking about right in this section. So having a safer mindset is pretty important. You also need to think of the internet like a shopping mall, internet safety and privacy, and being able to Google yourself. We all know we need to stay safe while we're using the internet, but we may not know just how to do that. In the past, internet safety was mostly about protecting your computer from viruses. But today, the internet's vast reach, constantly changing technologies, and growing source nature have made users more vulnerable to identity theft, privacy violations, and even harassment. Today I'm going to introduce to you the different types of threats you may encounter while online, and I'll also teach you the basic strategies like how to Google yourself and to create strong passwords, in addition to encouraging you to adopt a safer mindset toward using the internet. So in reference to having a safer mindset, when it comes to the internet, people generally believe that they are safer than they actually are. Why? Often the impersonal nature of technology can give us a false sense of security. After all, no one can physically attack us through a computer screen, right? We tend to have an "it won't happen to me" attitude. We may even believe that our computer programs and the powers that be are automatically taking care of the important internet security stuff for us. Sometimes we just avoid it altogether because, to be frank, we just don't get it. Does this sound like you? Consider the following questions. Have you ever Googled yourself to see what information can be found on you? Have you ever set your computer's security program to make sure you're getting regular updates? Do you have an external backup source for your computer? Are you enticed by emails or advertisements with special discount offers? When shopping online, do you check a website's security status before entering your billing information? Have you customized your privacy settings for your social networking accounts like Facebook, Twitter, and Skype? Do these questions make you nervous? Don't worry. I'm going to talk to you about that, and it's not meant to scold or scare you, but instead to make you realize that there are precautions we should all be taking on a regular basis to maintain our personal safety and protect our computers while using the internet. So think of the internet as you would a shopping mall. Generally, a mall is not considered a dangerous place. We go there to shop, run errands, meet people, but we also take precautions while there. We wouldn't leave our car unlocked in the parking lot or walk around with our wallet hanging out of our purse. We wouldn't tell a sales clerk our social security number or give our address to a stranger we just met. The same applies when you're online. We need not fear every mouse click, but we should take precautions to ensure our safety. And that leads us to internet safety and privacy. In the past, internet safety generally referred to threats to the computer hardware or identity theft, but now with the internet becoming more and more social, privacy has become a significant safety concern. Privacy violations can especially affect your mental and physical well-being, thus creating distress or harm from the following: undesired advertisements that can be annoying, embarrassing or humiliating photos or videos, legal entanglements of posts, cyber harassment or cyber stalking, identity theft, or offline or real-world threats. Being able to Google yourself. Do you know how much anyone can quickly find out about you and your background just by conducting a simple web search. Most people don't know that personal records such as their addresses, phone numbers, and sometimes even their pictures can easily be accessible to anyone online. While this information may not be harmful, in some situations you could put yourself at risk by not knowing what's out there. For instance, someone only needs to find out your phone number, your home phone number, and they can find out your address and directions to your house just by conducting a simple online search. Google yourself regularly to find out which websites and public databases shared information about you. So you want to make the most of your search. Enter search terms such as your name, email address, home and work address, and phone number in a variety of ways to get the most accurate and complete results. After putting quotes around your search terms, tells the search engine to find a specific phrase just how you wrote it. This will make your search more efficient. So first name and last name, you would put your name. So for instance, I would put quotations, Beth Gaff, quotations. So my first name, my last name, or I could do it vice versa. I could try just putting in my street address, doing my phone number with no spaces, trying my email, things along those lines. This way, by Googling yourself, you can get all the information out there about you. So I hope you have a little bit more of an understanding about the introduction to internet safety. We're going to be talking about a lot more than just this, but these are some of the important features that I wanted to let you know about. We're going to move on and we're going to be talking about internet threats and some lingo that you need to know in the next few slides. So why don't you right now just kind of take a minute and think about your mindset, the questions that were asked to you about it, and if in fact you feel you're safe, and how safe are you? Before we can learn how to protect ourselves, we need to understand what the threats are on the internet. So now we're going to talk about some internet safety terms that pertain to our computers and identity theft. And this is just a little interactive thing that I've been able to find for us to use. So this is through gcflearnfree.org. Farming is a technique used to redirect a legitimate website's traffic to another illegitimate website in order to gain access to a user's personal information. So in this area, if you are on a specific website, then it could just redirect you and you not even know about it. So just make sure you're paying attention to those websites is important. A virus is a self-replicating program that is designed to infect a computer by rapidly spreading from one file to another, sometimes causing great harm. You may even heard the term worms. They're very similar to a virus, except they're usually spread over a network without human help. So if something isn't helping it, it's just spreading itself. Phishing is on your email or instant messaging scams that are designed to look like official communications from legitimate websites. They fool users into providing sensitive information like passwords, credit cards, and details. So you want to be very, very careful with this. If somebody's asking you for that information, you do not want to be giving it to them. A Trojan horse is a type of malware that appears too benign or desired and thus tricks the user into allowing the program access to their computer, usually through a download or email attachment. So you need to be careful. If you're getting those emails without subjects, you should not be opening those emails. You're not sure where they're coming from or what's going to be in them, and you wouldn't want to harm your computer. Malware is intentionally malicious software or code that is designed to damage your computer or collect information without your knowledge. Viruses, Trojan horses, worms, spyware, and keystroke logging snoopware are also considered malware. Sometimes adware and freeware can be malicious. Malicious meaning bad activity. You don't want anything on there that you shouldn't be having on there. Spam is unsolicited mail or junk mail. Sometimes it comes from legitimate companies, but can also be used for scams, phishing, and malware. So just be on the lookout for that in your email. Spyware is a type of malware that collects information about users without their knowledge, often to track browsing habits and to create pop-up advertisements. Along with invading your privacy, it can sometimes interfere with the computer's functions. Spyware is sometimes bundled with other software. Before downloading software, it's a good idea to read the review to see if it has a good reputation. Make sure you're not getting extra things that you don't want. Browser hijacking occurs when malware or spyware replaces your browser's homepage with its own in order to force more hits to a particular website. Clickjacking is a technique that tricks users into clicking on a malicious link by adding the link to a transparent layer over what appears to be a legitimate web page. Users think they are clicking on a button or link to a legitimate page, when in reality they are clicking on the concealed links to the hidden page and often provide access to confidential information in the process. A hoax is an email chain letter that warns of impending viruses and tries to scare users into forwarding and continuing the hoax mail. And mouse trapping keeps visitors from leaving a website by locking them into a window, opening multiple windows on the desktop, or relaunching their website in a window that can't be closed. So these are just some internet safety terms that I wanted you to be aware of. We're going to actually be talking about different kinds of antivirus software that you can download on your computer at a later time in the class. But having an idea of what these words mean is going to help you as the class goes on. Okay, so now that we know the threats, we need to talk a little bit about understanding the lingo. So here's some different kinds of lingo terms, internet safety terms, that we want to get ourselves familiar with. So let's just start at the top with the sock puppet. The sock puppet is a fake identity that someone creates and uses to deceive others for some kind of personal gain. On most websites, it is possible to have more than one account, so it is easy to create sock puppets. For example, John could have a few online identities for the same chat service, John45, Sarah03, and Harmonica's Rock 12. When he is Harmonica's Rock 12, he might pretend to be a 30-year-old music enthusiast to find out what music stores you can go to. And when he is Sarah03, he might pretend to be a 20-year-old college student to find out where you went to college. So later on in the class, we're going to be watching a video about internet safety and the sock puppet and how that works, creating different accounts and different identities to accomplish what you're looking for. An avatar is a virtual representation of yourself. This term usually refers to a virtual image. Instead of using your picture on a social networking profile, you might use an avatar to protect your privacy. So you might use something fake, something not real. Docked is someone that loses their job because of something they posted on a blog or a social networking site. They may have been known as being docked. A troll. A troll is a person who posts comments just to get a rise out of people and to cause a distraction. Trolls might say something rude, assert incorrect information, or ask questions unrelated to a topic at hand. People who respond to obvious trolling posts are said to be feeding the trolls, which often causes the trolls to return and continue disrupting the discussion. There's actually on the radio, I hear it every morning, and this kind of goes along those lines. They go through different Facebook posts and they find where people are doing this, where they are arguing with people on purpose. One of the most recent ones that I remember listening to was about football teams and my team's better than your team kind of thing, and and everybody knows that their teams aren't the same, and I like this one and you like that one, and yet they want to get a rise out of them, so they'll post things about what they're saying about their team and things like that. Flame war. Flame war is a heated argument in a social media outlet such as a web forum, mailing list, or chat room in which intentionally insulting comments and personal attacks become a focus of conversation. So that's what flame war is. A screen name, sometimes called a username, is a virtual name that is used to identify users of a website where social media is a component. Your screen name can be your real name or a pseudonym. On sites where you regularly interact with strangers, it is a good idea to choose a pseudonym. When choosing a descriptive pseudonym such as Tennis247 or Partyboy18, keep in mind that the image it might portray and response it will solicit. Flame bait. A comment posted by someone trying to provoke a flame or an angry response is called flame bait. If anyone responds to the comment, they are said to have taken the bait. A meme is something that has gone viral or spread rapidly around the internet, such as a catchphrase, a hoax, a topic, a concept, or a piece of media. Memes are often cute, funny, or curious, and make you want to pass them on. If you are forwarding an email, just remember that everyone who gets the email in the future could have access to your email address. Posts, content that people publish on websites involving social media such as blogging, news groups, and forums are called posts. Twitter calls the posts that users make to Twitter sites called tweets. Posts are available to everyone who has access to the site. You do not always have the option to change or delete your post once it is posted. It is instantly public representation of you or your online identity. So think before you post. And chats. Chats are live online conversations. You can chat with people in the chat room or by using an instant messaging service. Unlike having a conversation with someone out loud, everything you write in your chat section can easily be saved and shared with others. So again, think before you send press. Or before you press send. So here's some of those internet safety terms that you want to get familiar with. At this time, you might even want to minimize this video or pause it and just kind of look up some of these on the internet just to kind of get yourself a little bit more familiar with them. We're going to be talking about a few more of these as class goes on today, but I just wanted you to be aware of some of the more common. We're going to talk about passwords now because this really is the first step to your safety. We're going to talk about common password mistakes, tips for creating a stronger password, and using password managers. Most people don't put a lot of thought into creating a password. It's usually easiest just to create a short, easy to remember password, or even just to use the same password for every account. After all, the average person probably won't be able to guess your password. However, hackers often use password cracking software that can keep testing different passwords until they find the correct one, and they can easily crack weak passwords by creating strong passwords. And you can greatly reduce the chance that your personal or financial information will be stolen. So some common password mistakes. Many people create passwords based on their spouse's name, a hobby, or a simple pattern because these types of passwords are easy to remember. Unfortunately, they are also easy for hackers to guess. To create a strong password, you need to avoid these types of common mistakes. So we're going to actually look at the common password mistakes, which is the picture that I have posted here. It is kind of hard to see. I'll probably blow it up in another screen for you so you can just take a look at it. But the common password mistakes, preventing your password from getting cracked. Weak passwords do these sound familiar? So he's using the password CodyBanks8. No one will guess this password to my banking account. I use my grandson's name and age. The next person used I love fishing. I use my favorite hobby as my Facebook password. The other one says Bravesy, exclamation point 2. I use the same password for all my accounts. That way I only have to remember one. 123 ABC 123. My Twitter password is really easy for me to remember. It's just a pattern. And then the last one says strong password, and you can see how different that one is. I used to write down my passwords, but now I use a password manage that encrypts all of them. It lets me use stronger passwords like the one listed that are harder for hackers to guess. So in the very first one where it says password CodyBanks8, the hacker says, it only took me 10 minutes to guess Hal's password. He posted his grandson's name on a photo sharing website. For the next person that says I love fishing, the hacker says, Jared's Facebook profile picture shows him fishing. People leave so many clues on social media. And then the next one is the Brave. Once I cracked his iTunes password, I was able to get into his Facebook, Amazon.com, and email accounts. And the next one with the 123 ABC. A lot of people use passwords that have some kind of pattern. They didn't realize That's what I try first. And then the strong password. I'm still working on figuring out this person's password. She doesn't seem to have any clues for me anywhere. So these are just some examples that you can get into. There is a list on the internet of the 25 worst passwords of 2013, and I'm sure they have other ones that you could even get into. So here's some tips for creating a stronger password. Never use personal information, such as your name, birthday, or spouse's name. Personal information is often publicly available, which makes it easier for someone to guess. Use a longer password. Your password should be at least 6 characters long, and for extra security, should ideally be at least 12 characters if the site allows it. If you need to write down your passwords, keep them in a secure place. It's even better if you encrypt your passwords or write down hints for them that others won't be able to understand. Don't use the same password for each account. If someone discovers your password for one account, all of your other accounts will be vulnerable. Try to include numbers, symbols, and both upper and lowercase letters if the site allows it. Avoid using words that will be found in the dictionary. For example, swimming 1 would be a weak password. Random passwords are the strongest. Use a password generator instead of trying to think of one on your own. Random passwords are more difficult to remember. So create a mnemonic device. For example, H equals JNP2 number sign can be remembered as Harry equals Jessica Nokia Paris 2 number sign. This may still seem random, but with a bit of practice it becomes relatively easy to memorize. You can also choose a sentence you know you'll remember and then use the first letter of each sentence or each word in the sentence, plus a few symbols or numbers as your password. Make sure you're using password managers. Instead of writing your passwords on paper where others can easily see them, you can use a password manager to encrypt and store them online. Some password managers can also generate random passwords, making your information even more secure. Examples of password managers include LastPass, KeepPass, Firefox's password manager, and Google Chrome's password manager. For example, when using LastPass, you will first need to install the LastPass browser plugin. Whenever you type a password on a website, the browser plugin will ask you whether you want to save it. The next time you go to the website, LastPass can automatically enter the password for you. If someone else wants to use your computer, you can simply log out of the LastPass to prevent them from being able to access your information. So this is all about becoming safe with passwords, and hopefully you have a little bit better understanding of how that works. I'm going to blow up this picture a little bit more on the next slide for you. That way you can see it a little bit better and have a better understanding. So think about your passwords and what you have created, and think about how safe they really are. Something that's very important that you need to understand about computers and internet safety is being able to protect your computer. So in this section we're going to talk about what protection you need, the multiple protection security suites, things to consider before you buy some type of protection, free versus your paid premium software, and we're going to talk about the Mac users and the scareware. Viruses, Trojan horses, worms, and spyware are all threats that can damage our computer systems. We know we need to protect our computers, but with so many antivirus programs on the market, how do we know what's best for our specific needs? So we're going to review what kind of antivirus protection you might need and how you can determine which product is best for you. In addition, we're going to discuss how to back up your system and get the most out of your security programs. So first off, what protection do you need? The best defense against internet threats is a good antivirus software. Antivirus software can protect you from infected email attachments, corrupt websites, internet worms, and spyware. There are a ton of antivirus products on the market, so figuring out what you need can become confusing and overwhelming. Therefore, we're going to outline these things that you need to consider to give you a better idea of what you should be looking for in an antivirus program. Multiple protections. The protection you obtain should include the following 3 components: An antivirus specifically protects against viruses, anti-spyware, which protects against malicious software that may be gathering your information without your knowledge, and a firewall. These are firewall screens out threats that try to reach your computer over the internet. Some security suites offer several additional protections, but these are the three main components you will need. So, what about security suites? Most antiviruses companies offer both a standalone product that only scans for viruses and a packaged security suite that offers additional protection like firewalls, spam filtering, and other anti-spyware tools. Security suites are generally easier to manage and offer a wide range of protection, which can be useful if you are a beginner. However, in some cases, the extra functions of a suite are not as good as the standalone products for that function. In addition, some suites have a tendency to slow down your computer. So, standalone products, more advanced users sometimes refer to take a pick and mix approach, researching and selecting the best products for each component and building their own security systems. Things to consider before you buy. Investigate your computer. If you are purchasing a new computer, ask the sales representative about what types of protections are already provided. Some computers come with security software, but you may need to subscribe to it after a trial period. Windows 7 and Mac OS X already have built-in firewalls. However, they cannot help you unless you make sure that they are turned on. In addition, your web browser has security settings that you should review. Before you choose a new antivirus software, it's a good idea to fully investigate what protections you already have on your computer. And you can do that in the System and Security section of your computer by going into the Control panel. So what about the free versus paid premium software? There are different free antivirus available that can offer an adequate amount of protection. However, many free antiviruses are scaled back versions of paid software programs that companies hope you will eventually upgrade to. The disadvantages of free antiviruses is that they often do not include technical support and may have limited functions and updating compatibilities. It should be noted that most paid software is based on a yearly subscription that will need to be renewed in order to receive the latest software and updates. So for Mac users, traditionally there have been fewer Mac viruses, and as a result, many Mac users do not use antivirus software. However, Mac viruses have become more common recently. Many experts now recommend using antivirus software as well as turning on the OS X firewall. Scareware is malicious links that are disguised as security warnings that have become a popular tactic with cyber criminals. These official-looking notices warn you that your computer has a virus and claim that you need to click on a link or download a program to fix it. They are trying to scare you into clicking the link, but in reality, the link leads to malware. The word for this type of scam is scareware. Scareware also shows up a lot of advertisements for antivirus software, so as you begin browsing for this software, make sure that you are checking the address domains and visiting legitimate websites for your research. Just note that many virus warnings that show up through your web browser or email are bogus. So, how to choose an antivirus software? That's what we're going to be talking about in the next section. This was all about protecting your computer and making sure that you have all the updates, understanding the differences in the paid versus the premium or the free, and what protection do you really need. So why don't you take a moment and just kind of think about what protection you have and what's going to be able to help you a little bit more. If you need any help with this, just get in contact with me and we can sit down together or go over it over the phone and see what kind of things you're doing on the computer and what you might need for your computer. So now that we know the basics a little bit about how we can protect our computer a little bit, we're going to talk about how to choose an antivirus software. And the topics that we're going to talk about are research reviews, check features, determine ease of use, review technical support, try a free evaluation, and strategies for using antivirus software. Now that you have assessed your needs and determined whether you want a standalone product or a security suite, you can begin the process of choosing an antivirus software. Let's follow these steps before you're buying software though. Research reviews. Research independent reviews of antivirus software from the current year. Go to the sites like CNET and Top 10 Reviews for expert opinions. Compare several reviews to get a good idea of which products are repeatedly recommended. Check features. A good antivirus software should offer real-time protection, meaning it's always on, and auto-update regularly to guard against new viruses. It should have an analysis component which detects and neutralizes previously unknown viruses, and an on-demand scanner that can be initialized by users to find malicious programs. You need to determine the ease of use. Investigate how easy a product is to set up and use. How to go to the product website and look for the screenshots, videos, and installation guides. These will give you a good idea of how user-friendly the software is. Review technical support. Make sure the product you are considering have multiple options for support, including email and toll-free helplines. Try the free evaluation. Download a free trial version of the software you're interested in and try it out. The best demos should provide a full version of the software. Do not download more than one trial version at a time because they may interfere with each other. They could conflict. Strategies for using antivirus software. The most important thing to remember in the new is that the new viruses are being introduced on a constant basis. Therefore, your antivirus software is only good as the latest update. So let's follow these strategies to make sure you're using your antivirus software effectively. Make sure the automatic update function is turned on. Don't ignore your renewal notice. Once your subscription expires, you will stop receiving updates. There may be times when you need to disable your antivirus to allow certain programs, upgrades, or downloads. Just make sure you don't forget to re-enable your program when you're finished. Your antivirus should give you specific instructions for dealing with difficult problems, but if you're having trouble with an issue, contact technical support. If you're unhappy with an antivirus program, make sure to uninstall it before installing a new product, because they could conflict with each other and you wouldn't want to stop any of your or have an interruption in your service. So this is the best way that you can choose an antivirus software. Why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this, get on Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever search engine you like using, and just type in antivirus software. See what you're going to come up with. Do some reviews on it. Check some of the features. Determine the use of it. Review the technical support. You might even want to try a free evaluation and get your free trial going. So go ahead, give it a try. Here are some additional computer safety practices to consider. In this section, the topics of discussion are restarting your computer, installing software updates, using System Restore, backing up your computer, external hard drives, online backup services, and the cloud. So, restarting your computer regularly. Some of us leave our computers on all the time, but it's a good practice to turn it off and restart it at least once a week. This gives your computer a chance to perform regular diagnostic checks and fix minor issues before they become a problem. Make sure you're installing software updates. When your operating system informs you of a software update, download and install it. Software updates are designed to fix security and vulnerabilities and other bugs in your operating system. This will help protect your computer against some of the latest threats. Use System Restore. If you have a download that's causing problems, try your operating system's System Restore function. This feature allows you to restore your computer to how it was before you began having the issue. So, you can also do a backup of your computer. And actually, if you need a little bit more information about System Restore, get in contact with me and I can help you with that. There's some different sites you can go on for System Restore in Windows 7, System Restore in Windows 8, and now that 10 has come out, I'm sure that that's available as well. Making sure you're backing up your computer. With antivirus protection, your chances of losing your files to damaging malware are greatly reduced. However, no product offers 100% security. Therefore, it's a good idea to back up your files on an external source. Windows 7 and Mac operating systems come with internal backup systems, but this will not help you if your computer is lost or damaged or stolen. For externally backing up your files, there are two basic options for home users. You can use an external hard drive, or you can use an online backup service. Some of your OneDrives, Google Drives, things like that are good for backing up services. You can also get an external hard drive that just plugs right into your USB port, and then you would be able to, and we're going to talk about that next. You can purchase an external hard drive and a copy of the contents of your computer to it. The initial backup could take several hours, so you will need to select a period of time when you do not need to access your computer. Running the backup overnight usually works best. Follow-up backups should be conducted on a regular basis, but they will not take as long because the drive will only need to copy your most recent files. Western Digital, Omega, and Seagate produce popular external hard drives. Conduct some research on which products best suits your storage needs, or ask a computer sales representative for recommendations. One drawback compared to online backup services is that your external hard drive can be lost, damaged, or stolen, just as your computer might be. Therefore, it's important to keep your drive in a secure location when it's not being used. If you have questions about external hard drives or anything like that, get in contact with me. We can sit down together and we can go over those options for you. Your online backup service and the cloud, the mystery of the cloud. You can also back up your files online, in other words, in the cloud. When you store something in the cloud, it's saved to servers on the internet instead of your computer. This way you can always access your files even if your computer is lost, damaged, or stolen. In that instance, the cloud or your drives or anything like that that you access through the internet, it doesn't follow the computer, it follows you. So you can go access that from anywhere. Popular online backup sources that utilize this technology include Mozy, Carbonate, and Box. The amount of storage space provided by these sites varies, though, and you may have to pay a monthly or yearly fee for adequate storage. Again, do your research because these services are constantly changing and offer varying features. One drawback to online backup services is that the initial backup can be slow and may even take days to upload if you have a large amount of files. However, a backup should not take as long as before. Other services that utilize the cloud for backing up files and more include iCloud and OneDrive. So to learn more about those, you can just get in contact with me and I can help you get yourself set up with a Google Drive, a OneDrive, your cloud, or whatever, and we can kind of go over those together. This is a lot of information to take in about your antivirus, your malware, your all of that information. Being able to get those updates for your computer, as well as practicing safety to your computer. So if you have any questions about this, please get in contact with me. I would love to assist you with it.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
The internet has become an essential tool for communicating, which is partly why it has also become a popular target among scammers and cybercriminals. In order to safeguard yourself from email scams, harmful software, or identity theft, it's essential that you understand the ways you might be at risk. In this video, we'll go over the basics of identifying and avoiding potentially harmful content on the internet. The first line of defense begins with your email inbox. You've probably heard the term spam before in reference to junk email. Spammers can send an email to thousands of people at the same time, and they can do so anonymously, making anti-spam laws hard to enforce. So it's important to be cautious when it comes to opening emails. Fortunately, though, many email services now provide customizable features to help you protect your inbox. For example, the ability to turn off email images. Spam contains images that senders can track. When you open the email, the images load, and the spammer will be able to tell if your email works, possibly resulting in more spam. If you're using Gmail like I am, you can turn off email images by clicking the gear icon and then selecting Settings from the drop-down menu. Choose Ask before displaying external images. Then click Save. Now if I get an email with images, Gmail will ask if I want the images to be displayed. Most email services also check to see if incoming messages are spam. If it finds spam, it will store the mail in a spam folder, so you don't accidentally open it when you're checking your email. Spam blocking systems aren't perfect though, and there may be times when legitimate emails end up in your spam folder. So it's a good idea to regularly check and make sure you aren't missing important emails. To check your spam folder in Gmail, click More in the left pane. Then select Spam. And here you can see all the emails that have ended up in your spam folder. Many email services have a feature you can use to mark emails as spam. In Gmail, I can just select the email and then click this button to mark it as spam. This helps your email provider to filter out these types of messages in the future. Some spam emails are simply annoying advertisements. Others will claim to be contacting you about something important, when what they're really trying to do is steal your personal information. This is known as phishing. It's a type of scam in which an email pretends to be from a bank or another trusted source in order to trick you into handing over your personal information by asking you to complete some sort of action. They may want you to re-enter a password, verify or update sensitive information like phone numbers, addresses, or credit card numbers, and they almost always tell you to do so by following links they provide. It's a good idea to avoid clicking links in emails. Instead of clicking the link, retype the URL into your browser's address bar to ensure that you go to the correct website. For example, here's an email that looks like it's from Bank of America, saying that some personal information has been changed and asking me to verify the changes by following a few links. It looks real enough at first glance, but it's surprisingly easy for scammers to create deceiving details such as these. Remember, phishing emails won't always look like they're phishing. The whole purpose is to look like they're from your bank, credit card, or another trusted company. Think of it this way. If someone came to your house saying they worked for your bank and they needed your social security number to verify that you're the account holder, would you give it to them? Chances are you wouldn't give out that information. Look at emails the same way. Just because an email says it's from a familiar company doesn't mean it really is. Spam, scams, and phishing schemes will keep evolving just as the technology to stop them does. But if you know what to look for and what to avoid, you can keep your inbox that much safer.
Let's talk about email and some email tips for you. Email has become an essential tool for communicating, which is why it is so popular with scammers, cybercriminals, and advertising companies. In order to protect ourselves from phishing scams and malware, it is essential that we learn how to safely manage our mail. So we're going to learn tips from managing spam and mail attachments. In addition, you're going to learn how to identify and avoiding phishing scams. You just got done watching the video about spam and phishing, so I just wanted to go through some of the topics. Spam is another term for junk mail or unwanted email advertisements. Today, a majority of emails are spam. This is because it's easy and inexpensive for spammers to send an email to thousands of people at a time, and they can do it anonymously, making anti-spam laws difficult to enforce. Phishing scams and malware are often included in spam, so it is important to be able to effectively manage the spam we receive in our box. So here's some tips for dealing with spam. Use a spam blocker. A spam blocker can greatly reduce the amount of spam that ends up in your inbox. Most online email services like Yahoo and Gmail have built-in spam blockers. You can also use a separate anti-spam blocker such as Mailwasher, which can be used with Outlook or any other email program. Unfortunately, even with the spam blocker, some spam may still get through. Don't reply to spam. You may be tempted to reply to a spam email or click a link within the email to unsubscribe. This may work with legitimate emails you have subscribed to. However, spammers will rarely honor these requests. In fact, by replying or clicking a link, you are confirming to the spammer that your email address works, which means you may end up getting more spam. Turn off images. An email can contain images spammers can track. When you open the email, the image will load, and the spammer will be able to tell that your email address works, possibly resulting in even more spam. Turn off your preview pane. If your email service has one, you cannot avoid viewing spam when your email automatically displays it in your preview pane. Once you view a spam message, it may actually lead to receiving more spam. Therefore, you'll need to weigh the convenience of using your preview pane with your desire to avoid spam. Regularly check your spam folder. Sometimes spam blockers block legitimate emails. It's a good idea to regularly check your spam folder to make sure you're not missing important emails. Check your email program for settings that will allow legitimate emails that are being blocked. So, email scams. Many spam emails aren't trying to sell you anything. They're trying to steal your money and personal information. Email scams come in many different forms, but generally they work by promising you something that's too good to be true, or by making you think something bad will happen if you don't act now. Popular email scams include work-at-home offers, weight loss scams, debt relief programs, and cure-all products. Advanced free fraud. Have you ever seen an email or classified ad, or Craigslist, for example, promising you something if you advance a certain amount of money? The word for this is advance fee fraud. It's different from other email scams because it involves corresponding with an actual person, someone who is trying to trick or mislead you by sharing their personal story, which is almost always false. One of the most notorious examples of advance fee fraud is the Nigerian letter scam. So you can always learn more about this. They have articles on sites for the Better Business Bureau, so you can take a look at that. Just be careful with that advance fee fraud. And then there's phishing. Phishing is a type of scam in which an email pretends to be from a bank or another trusted source to trick you into handing over your personal information. Scammers can use this information to withdraw money from your bank account, to steal your identity. A phishing email will often have a sense of urgency. For example, it may claim that unauthorized charges were made on your credit card and that you need to immediately verify your information. Not all the phishing email claims to be from large companies. A scammer may also hack into an individual's account and send phishing emails to the person's friends asking for money or personal information. If you get an email from a friend asking for sensitive information, it's best to call the friend and verify that the request is really from that person before you send it. So now we're going to talk about some additional tips and resources. Don't follow the link. It's easy for an email to use the logo from a legitimate company in order to look official, but any link you click could take you to a shady site. Always type the web address manually or click one of your own bookmarks to go to your bank or other trusted websites. Report scams and spam. Some email service providers have a "This is Spam" button or another method for reporting spam. You can also contact the company being misrepresented and report the spam. Another option is to email a report of the spam to the Federal Trade Commission at spam@uce.gov. So if you need more information and you want to learn a bit more about specific scams, you can visit the Federal Trade Commission Scams Alerts, and that's onguardonline.gov, and they have a phishing page in there. Virus software update.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
While you're using the internet, you may be picking up spyware, downloading malware, or using fraudulent sites without even knowing it. But don't worry, your browser does a number of things to help make sure you avoid running into malicious websites. And there are also some precautions you can take to stay safe. Something as simple as double-checking domain names can save you from accidentally visiting a site with unsafe content. Malicious sites often use deceptive web addresses to trick users into believing they are on a legitimate site. Many web browsers will highlight the domain when you're typing in a site's web address. In this case, it's just a darker font than the rest of the web address. Being able to clearly read the domain name makes it easier to double-check and make sure it's correct. This will help make sure you're going to the real, trusted site, and not a phony site with a similar web address. And if you are about to access a site that contains malware or other malicious content, many web browsers will show you a warning. Some websites will display this padlock image, or a similar image. When you see this, you know that that site has added additional layers of protection by making sure your connection to the site is secure, so third parties can't see your personal information. This is most commonly seen on certain types of sites, like banking sites. You won't see this on all websites, and that's okay. Not all sites need the extra security. Finally, another easy way to make sure your browser is providing as much protection for you as possible is by making sure you have the most recent version of your browser. Your browser will usually notify you when it has a new version or if there's an update available. But if you think you've missed or ignored updates, you can manually check for updates. In Chrome, click the Menu button. Then select About Google Chrome. By practicing just a few simple safety measures, you can browse the internet more safely.
In this section, we're going to be talking about how you can do social networking and communicating smartly. Social networking and sharing on the web are taking off in ways we may have never imagined. But along with all the fun social aspects come significant questions about privacy. As the popularity of social networking increases, so do the liable cases being brought to court based on defamatory posts and tweets. Defamatory meaning defaming somebody. What you share on social media is written documentation that can be tracked back to you if required by law. In extreme cases, you may not retain a right to privacy even if you have posted something anonymously. So you just want to be careful with what you're posted so you don't get into some of those legal issues that can arise. And we've all seen the Judge Judy episodes where they're bringing in their cell phones and showing messages on Facebook and posts and things like that. Cybercrime. It is best to remain as anonymous as possible in all. So yeah, that can be online or offline. In extreme cases, people have been fired for complaining about their jobs online or rejected by colleges based on online party photos. What you share online can be seen by anyone, so it is important to be aware of the image you are presenting. So you don't want to do anything like putting on there, oh, had a great time, spring break week, because everybody is looking at your profile, especially when you're out there in the job market. There are some additional resources. You can actually look at videos for online privacy and technology and keeping up with the law on technology through CNN.com. So there's some different options that you can do there. So setting up profiles and networking sites. Most social networking sites require you to set up a profile to join. Some profiles are simple and may only include a screen name and image, like when you join a website discussion board. Other profiles, such as those on YouTube or Facebook, can give you a lot of freedom to be creative and elaborate. So we're going to talk about some things that you can do, and these are some tips so you can safely represent yourself on an online profile. So we're going to start with your screen name. It may be okay to use your full name as a screen name on sites where you can limit your sharing to the people you know. Some sites like Facebook may even require you to use your real full name. However, on a message board or chat room, you should use just your first name or a pseudonym, which is a fictitious name, because you are interacting with strangers. If you are using a pseudonym, avoid choosing one that may seem as inappropriate or suggestive, like Party Girl 19 probably wouldn't be such a great one. Instead, try using more neutral names based on a hobby interest, such as Book Lover 44. And then we're going to go on to your profile picture. This can either be a photo or an avatar, a graphical image that represents you. On Facebook, most people use photos of themselves. However, on a more public site, you may want to use an avatar because it allows you to remain more anonymous. Remember that many people will be able to see your profile picture, so it's important to choose a picture that won't reflect negativity on you. So you just want to make sure you're not putting those party pictures out there. Profile information. You should be careful about personal information you share in your profile. If possible, set up your account so only friends can see your personal information. You should never make your birthday or home address publicly viewable. And we're all guilty of that, right? We get the little posts every day that say, it's such and such birthday, wish them a happy birthday. I get them all the time. And then your contact information. Avoid including any contact information other than your email address in your profile. It may even be a good idea to open a separate email address for social networking connections to protect your regular account from getting cluttered with spam and phishing emails. Boy, do I know about that. Do not use your home phone number on social media profiles. If you must include a phone number, use a mobile phone number. Note that some websites may require you to enter a phone number to create an account. Generally, this will not make your phone number publicly visible, but there are some articles out there that you can read about how why do I have to provide my phone number for verification and things like that. So you can read up a little bit more on that. Of course, your image and persona. Many sites allow you to customize your profile with wallpaper, personal interests, and likes. Always consider what type of public image you want to represent as you decide what information to include in your profile. Anything that is racy or inappropriate may lower someone's impression of you when you apply for a college or a job. Don't forget to create strong passwords so no one can access your account. And I believe that we have talked about passwords. So you should have a better persona about that anyways. Review your privacy settings. Social networking sites have settings for privacy, but many people either do not customize them or do not understand how to do that. Facebook is a perfect example of a site with complicated settings that have the potential to expose a user's private information. So with all of this conclusion, how can you make sure your profile is protected? Well, let's go over some different things that you can do. Carefully review a site's privacy policy. It is best to thoroughly review the privacy policy of any site you join to, so make sure you understand your information is being displayed and used. If the privacy policy is overwhelming and confusing, conduct some research and see what type of advice or tutorials are offered. Make sure to pay attention to site policy changes. It's not always enough to read the privacy policy carefully when you join a website, because sites will sometimes change their policies with little to no warning to their users. Make sure you're aware of any changes by periodically changing technology-related news sites like TechCrunch or read-write for information on social media sites that you are using. Look for advice or tutorials. Conduct a search on how to set up a profile for the site you are interested in. Often there will be blogs or how-to articles that will uncover the things you really need to know about how to maintain your privacy on certain sites. Google yourself. The best way to see how your profile is being displayed is to enter your name into a search on Google. And you can just go on there and type in the Google yourself, and see what's out there with your name. And you'll probably get hits of other people that have a name just like yours. But this is some more of that social networking and communications tips. I hope this is beneficial and is helping you. Next, we're going to get into netiquette tips. To avoid awkward or negative experiences while communicating online, it's helpful to know the basics of netiquette. Netiquette refers to network etiquette for online communications and can be helpful for beginners. We're going to talk about some basic tips that everyone should practice when communicating online. So you want to be respectful. Always treat others as you would like to be treated. A good rule of thumb is not to communicate with anyone or anything online that would not be willing to say, so if you're not willing to say it to somebody's face, then you probably shouldn't be putting it online, is the point there. You want to be respectful of other people. Don't be too quick to take offense. In online communication, we usually cannot see facial expressions, judge body language, or hear tone of voice. Therefore, it's easy to misinterpret the meaning of a message or post. Also, the technology itself tends to make us less personable. Before taking the offensive, clarify a message with the sender. So they may not have meant it exactly the way that you interpreted it. Use the emoticons and abbreviations to convey messages. To convey tone, humor, and meaning, learn common abbreviations like LOL, which is laugh out loud, and JK, which is just kidding. Or use those emoticons, such as the smiley face, your colon and your parenthesis, or your colon and your other parenthesis. However, be careful not to overuse these symbols, or your messages might become annoying or difficult to read. So again, you can't win for losing sometimes on some things. Protect the privacy of others. As a courtesy, you should ask permission before posting photos or videos of others online. You should also protect the email addresses of others by deleting them from your from emails you forward. Check your language. Using offensive language online is unpleasant and can cause people to view you negatively. Take a few moments to check your communication before sending it and avoid using foul or inappropriate language. You can also get online and look up some tips for netiquette. Also keep in mind that the rules may vary for email online chats, web forums, online gaming, and other social networking outlets. It may be smart to search for specific rules pertaining to particular outlets that you're using. So this is just a little bit about netiquette. This is stuff we learned as preschoolers. We just have to make sure that we continue to apply that when we aren't face to face with somebody and we're just talking to them online. As we become more comfortable with communicating and sharing online, we still need to keep in mind that what we post has the potential to get us into trouble. Something about the impersonal nature of technology makes us feel safe about writing or posting things we would likely not say to an individual face to face. In some situations, we definitely need to think before we hit send. So in this section, we're going to talk about things you need to think about before you share. Consider the following examples. A teacher in North Carolina complained about her students on Facebook and ended up getting suspended and then reassigned to a different position. Think before you hit share, especially when posting comments about your job. A job candidate sent a scathing email when he was rejected for a position by a hiring manager. He may have been considered for a second opening, but instead, he destroyed his chances. Think before you hit send, especially if you're upset, frustrated, or angry. A politician in South Carolina used his work email account to send romantic messages to his lover. The messages were retrieved and published in the media, causing great embarrassment. Think. Never post or write personal or inappropriate content in the accounts you use on the job. They are not considered private, and any content belongs to the company and can be used against you. An administrative assistant took a sick day and headed to the beach for the day of fun. Unfortunately, her tweets about her great day at the beach got back to her boss. Think. Managers are now using social media more and more to catch employees participating in unprofessional behavior. We tend to use online sharing for casual communication and socializing. Therefore, it's easy to become careless. Here's a good rule to keep in mind. Do not write or post anything you would not be comfortable sharing with an entire room full of people. So you just want to be careful of that. Precautions to take when you are meeting someone face to face. I'm going to talk to you about that now. As we get to know people online, there may be times when we want to meet them in person or in real life. It is important to take precautions before meeting face-to-face with someone online. Criminals and fraudsters can easily fake their identities and pretend to be someone else while online in order to lure victims into meeting them in person. So we're going to actually look at an interactive little thing here about being able to protect your identity. So that's going to be coming up next, and then we're going to get into the warning signs to look for. So now I have a little interactive thing here, and we're just going to learn the basic steps every person should use, whether you're meeting for an online date, purchasing an item from Craigslist seller, or getting together with a buddy from a gaming site. So you want to protect your identity. Do not include any personal or identifying information in your profile or communications. Your last name, school, place of work, and cell phone number can all be used to find you in person. In addition, make sure your photos or videos do not reveal any of this information in the background. So that's going to help protect your identity. Tell someone. Tell someone you trust that you are planning on meeting someone you meet online and give them details you have regarding this person. This is very important, especially with that cyber criminal activity that goes on. So make sure you're going to tell somebody about this. Research the person. Request the person's full name and conduct a research for them on Google. If you need help, learn how in GCF Learn Free's Googling Yourself lesson, or you can just type in Googling Yourself. If you have children, you may consider doing a more extensive background check before introducing a person to your family member. So just research the person. Meet in public. Meet in a crowded public place like a coffee shop or a restaurant in the mall. Do not choose a place that you would frequently go to, since you would not want someone finding you there if things go badly. Do not leave together or let the person see you get into your car. You do not want them to follow you or obtain your car tag numbers. It's kind of scary, isn't it? So you want to meet in public. Bring a friend. Bring a friend with you, and if you feel comfortable, they can leave. However, you should always arrange to meet or call your friend at a specific time after the meeting. If you are meeting someone for buying and selling, always bring a friend and make sure they stay with you until the transaction is done. With online dating, it may not be convenient to bring someone with you on every date, but always tell someone the time, place, and the name of the person you are meeting, and then arrange to check in with them after the date. Bringing a friend is a great idea. Repeat until safe. Meet a person a few times using these precautions until you are comfortable with who they are and say they are. Do not get lazy about second and third visits, as many criminals count on you becoming more relaxed with familiarity. Also, avoid revealing any personal information about yourself, and do not go anywhere alone with a person until you are sure you can trust them. So you just want to repeat all of these steps to make sure that you are as safe as you can be. Now we're going to talk about some warning signs that we should be following. We're going to review the following tips to avoid running into trouble with people we meet face to face. You want to trust your instincts. Pay attention when something doesn't feel right, and watch for red flags and questionable characteristics. Are the people you talk to controlling? Do they talk badly about others? Do they avoid certain questions? Are they quick to get mad? Your gut instincts are a good measure of whether you should proceed with someone or end things right away. So just trust that instinct that we all get. Take your time and maintain control. At any time, if you feel uncomfortable, you have the right to walk away and end communication without any need to explain. Do not allow someone to persuade or badger you into moving forward before you are comfortable with doing so. If a person is genuine, he or she will understand you need to take things slowly. So don't let somebody maintain and control and take up all of your time. End things with someone who brings up sex talk too soon or asks about money. These people are almost always insincere and could end up scamming or harming you. So you want to stay away from that. Avoid drinking alcohol before or during your meeting. It can impair your ability to judge another person and the safety of the circumstances. So you just want to be careful. So you want to definitely trust your instincts. You don't want to be involved with somebody that has to maintain control and has to take up all of your time. You should be in control of you and your time. End things right away if you start noticing things like a bunch of inappropriate talks about money, wanting things from you. Don't drink alcohol before meetings. That's going to impair your judgment, and you don't want to be doing things that you're going to regret later. So these are some fantastic warning signs. You can also get online and look up some others but these are the primary ones that you need to be looking for. In this section, it is quite large. This is all about cyber harassment, stalking, and addictions. Unfortunately, our use of the internet has the potential to turn ugly. As we integrate technology more and more into our lives, we need to be aware of the potential for cyber harassment, stalking, and internet addiction. So in this section, we're going to discuss how to prevent negative communication and how to respond to cyber harassment and cyber stalking. In addition, we're going to explore the aspects of internet addiction, and I'm going to provide you with some resources for assessment and treatment for that. Social networking can be a great way to communicate on a global level and a fun way to socialize and maintain relationships. However, this form of communication can have its downsides. The anonymous nature and open access of the internet allows for the potential to be exposed to offensive, derogatory, and inappropriate communications. Usually you can ignore this type of content or simply leave a page where you are being exposed to it. However, there may be times when things suddenly escalate into the following. Flame wars. These are heated arguments online where intentionally insulting statements and personal attacks become the focus of conversation. Cyber harassment. This is any type of harassment that happens online, including impersonating the victim on social media sites, spreading rumors about the victim, sharing compromising photos or videos, or pursuing the victim with unwanted emails or instant messaging. Cyber stalking. This is cyber harassment that is ongoing and or where the perpetrator credibly threatens the victim with offline physical harm. So here's some tips to help prevent cyber harassment and cyber stalking. Unfortunately, these experiences can create mental and emotional distress and have the potential to become harassment offline or in the real world. While most sites have policies against such negative content, they are often limited in how they can respond to and control to it. Therefore, it's important to take the following precautions to prevent these circumstances from occurring in the first place. Avoid getting involved in flame wars. It is important to think before you share comments, especially if they are controversial, religious, political, or disagreeing in nature. These types of posts have the potential to provoke a negative response and should be considered carefully. Avoid using a revealing screen name. Choose a screen name that is gender and age neutral and that does not reveal your name or any personal information about you. If you have a racy or attention-grabbing nickname, be aware that this may cause you to be the target of unwanted attention. Avoid sharing personal information. Be extremely cautious about sharing any personal information online. The more someone knows about you, the easier it is to access you online and offline. And we've already talked about Googling yourself. This helps with that personal information when it's exposed online. You can also see that about others. Avoid sharing revealing photos. Once you've posted an image out online, you lose control of who can view it, share, or alter it, as well as how they do so. A revealing photo is particularly susceptible to being shared in damaging ways. Similar to a racy screen name or a revealing photo may also make you the target of unwanted attention. Responding to cyber harassment and cyber stalking. If you find yourself in a cyber harassment or cyber stalking situation, here are some specific steps to take. Don't respond. Don't ask harassers to stop or tell them how you feel. Over time, if you give them nothing to respond to, they are much less likely to continue harassing you. Block harassers. Research your privacy options and, if possible, block any harassers from contacting you or seeing your personal information. If the website you're using doesn't offer a blocking option, consider creating a new screen name or online identity and closing the one the offenders know. Keep records. Save all correspondence from a harasser on your computer without altering it in any way. You may need it in the future to prove your case and to get the help you need. If you have reported the case to law enforcement or to the website, also save these correspondence. Report the incident to the website. If you're not sure who to contact, look around the website's contact or about pages and find the right person to email or form to fill out. Once you report an incident, the website may be able to monitor the offender or even terminate his or her account for violating the site's terms of use. When to contact law enforcement. If you suspect that a harasser could find out your location and you think, feel, or know that the harasser is a threat to you or your family's safety, contact the police immediately. In other cases, use your best judgment. Isolated incidents may not need to be reported to the police. If you report an incident, you can always refer the police to wiredsafety.org, an organization that helps law enforcement with online crimes. So now we're going to talk about internet addiction. Internet addiction is becoming a growing concern as more people are spending more significant quantities of time online. Internet addiction is generally defined as a compulsive use of the internet and may include the unhealthy use of the following: online gambling, online shopping including auction sites like eBay, online dating including online affairs, cyber porn and cyber sex sites, social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter, online gaming, compulsive surfing of the web for entertainment and information. For some of us, spending a lot of time on the internet may seem like a necessity as we integrate technology with our daily work tasks, home life tasks, and communications. But how you can tell when your internet use has shifted from normal to unhealthy? How can you tell? If you use the internet, if your use of the internet starts interfering with your life offline, there may be a problem. Signs include neglecting your work, relationships, and daily responsibilities in order to spend time on the internet. In addition, if you have an extreme emotional response to the internet, like feeling anxious when you are offline, or euphoric when you get back online, you may need to seek help. Here's some resources for internet addiction. The following websites provide you with resources and information for dealing with internet addiction, including self-assessments you can take to determine if you have a problem. Netaddiction.com is a great site. Internet addiction test is actually from the netaddiction.com. Other self-tests and internet-related addictions from netaddiction.com. Internet addiction, signs, symptoms, treatment, and self-help from helpguide.org. So this is all about cyber harassing, stalking, and addictions. And again, if you are experiencing any of this cyber harassment, stalking, things along those natures, you definitely don't want to be the victim of anything. So you want to get some law enforcement involved if you feel your life might be in danger. If you have an internet addiction, do some research to find out what you can do. There's nothing worse than being kind of wrapped up into yourself, if that makes sense. So I hope that you gained some information by this section, but do some research on your own as well, and find out what you can find out about some of this.
This is Josh Schiff.
Is the internet really dangerous? I mean, aren't your parents and teachers just overreacting to the dangers that lurk on the interwebs? Did you know the internet is a series of tubes?
The internet is not something that you just dump something on. It's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes.
Truthfully, these adult folks in your life have a point. Online threats are real, and that's why today I'm going to show you how to be safe online. Think of me as your online bodyguard with really puny biceps. Don't judge me. All right, look, there are three main threats for teens online. So let's deal with the biggest threat first, shall we? The biggest threat to you online, do you know what it is? It's you. You are your biggest threat. Actually, let me be more clear about that. The biggest online threat to you is you posting or uploading something stupid, right? The internet is like a spider web. I mean, what do you think they call it? The World Wide Web. It catches everything, and once it's online, it can be there for years. So that picture of you kissing your dog, there forever. That Facebook update about how much you enjoy the music of Miley Cyrus, sir, there forever. Butterflies fly away, nodding my head like yeah, moving my head. So look, being smart about what you say and do online is frankly more than just a good idea. A teenage Burger King employee from Cleveland took a picture of him with his feet in the bin of lettuce they use for burgers. First of all, that's freaking disgusting. He posted it online, you know, thinking anonymously, right? Safe. Nope, wrong. Burger King found out about it, traced the photo back to this dude's phone. Not only was he fired, but BK Corporate fired the entire crew he worked with. Every single one of them. I bet that guy's pretty popular now. Now, I know what you're sitting there thinking, Josh, I mean, I don't even work at Burger King. And secondly, I would never, ever put my feet in a bin of lettuce. That is disgusting and bad for the environment. All right, fair enough. But think about this for a second. How much drama is started when people like say and post idiotic stuff online that they would never, ever in a million years say to your face? You know? And how many times have you seen your friends say or post something online that they now regret? Exactly. So to help you protect yourself against yourself, here's a general rule of thumb that might help you. Before you post or upload something, ask yourself this. Would I be cool with my grandma seeing this? You know, would you be cool with your grandma seeing you threaten to beat up that kid you don't like? Would you be cool with your grandma seeing you request the answers for Mrs. Fox's Spanish final? Would you be cool with your grandma seeing you upload that picture of you in front of the bathroom mirror only wearing a sports bra? Honey, put some dang clothes on, good Lord! That's my grandma impersonation. Sorry. So here's a rule. If it passes the grandma filter of approval, then you're good to go. If it doesn't, you probably want to reconsider it. The second thing you need to protect yourself against online are online predators. I mean, the word predator even like sounds, you know, it's just. So if you're chatting online with someone, you need to make sure that you for sure, like 100%, know who they are. And never ever give out personal information. If you're gonna buy something online, make sure it's a legit site, right? Here's a little saying I've made up for you to help you remember this. Let me see if I can remember it. If it looks scammy, protect your family. That's, if it looks legit, it's probably full of, I can't say that. If you give out the wrong informaciones, it's like a kick to the cojones. That's racist. All right, here it is, for real. Avoid the temptation to give information. You better tweet that right now because there are weirdos and stalkers and crazy people out there that you need to protect yourself from and your friends from. Please do not share your personal information with anyone unless you know for sure they are safe or a legitimate business or organization. Don't take candy from strangers, avoid windowless vans, and remember, only you can can prevent forest fires.
Count on you to do what talking says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Now, the last thread is not very popular to talk about, but the fact is that it's true, so I'm going to talk to you about it. Did you know, this is crazy, that 12% of internet websites are pornographic in nature? 12%, I mean, that is messed up. And you need to protect yourself from this stuff. It causes serious psychological and relational harm. The Kaiser Family Foundation did a survey of 1,200 teens, and 70% of them said that they had accidentally stumbled onto porn online. And in a recent survey of college freshmen, 82% they had been exposed to porn by the time they were just 14 years old. So the point is, an unlocked computer is like a loaded gun sitting in your bedroom. You need to protect yourself or eventually you will get shot. It's inevitable. Get some filtering software on your computer to protect yourself. I use something called SafeEyes. There's also something out there called Content Barrier and other programs out there that work for both Mac and PC. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, this filtering software costs money. Look, it costs like $50 a year. And here's how you make this happen. Go to your parents and tell them, "Dearest mother and father, the World Wide Web is filled with vile stuff like pornography. This filtering software protects me, a young child, innocent in nature, from all of this horrible stuff. Could you buy it for me so I may live a virtuous life and be an upstanding citizen of the interwebs?" If your parents say no to that, your parents are crazy, all right? So there you have it. 3 straightforward boundaries that you can enact in your life to save yourself a lot of heartache and awkward questions in a future job interview.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to take this class. You're one step closer to getting yourself secure and safe online and offline, and that's what's important. Remember, without you, I would have no reason to have these classes, so thank you again for taking the time. Make sure to be listening for your secret code that's in this class. Get me that code and you can start winning some prizes. Don't forget that one-on-one appointments are available and they're free if you're local to me. We do them right here at the library, or the mobile lab goes out into the community. So be looking for a location near you. You can also join the Facebook group at Tech Talk Technology and start getting some of those tips, including safety tips. So again, pat yourself on the back. You did a fantastic job. You should be very proud of yourself, and congratulations, you're all done with internet safety. I want to thank the following websites and programs for allowing me to use their information for our class today. Without these websites and programs, we would not have been able to have class today.